We have all heard that term before, getting beside yourselves. Well, this person, this Lia Thomas individual, is the perfect example of that. Now, if you watched the live stream that I did in collaboration with Afro Elite, we talked about this individual. And one thing that we was talking about is how people who are in the T of the academy are literally getting beside themselves, especially when it comes to women's sports. We said that women should be competing with women, the men with the men, and if those who are identify as T, let them have their own separate sports leagues, whatever you want to call it. But we have this Lia Thomas right here, of course, who was born a man, but now lives as a T woman in Hall T of the Academy. Now, I've never done a video about this person before because I really didn't care, or not so much not didn't care, but it is, is whatever. I've talked about it, but in passing. But this one I definitely had to bring some attention to because this is the part where I say getting beside themselves. This Lia Thomas person is feeling themselves so much that they have compared themselves to Jackie Robinson. Yes, that Jackie Robinson. The black Negro leagues, went to the major leagues, broke barriers, broke records, made history. That Jackie Robinson, a black man. And people are going in on Lia Thomas, and rightfully so. Now, keep in mind, Lia Thomas actually competed against another trans swimmer who is a person who was born a woman but transformed, quote unquote, into a man and lost to that person. But they don't really talk about that. But it is indeed true. But when they're competing against, just regularly born women who decide to continue to live their life as it is, this Lia Thomas continues to win. But to liken yourself to Jackie Robinson is out of control. You have lost whatever brain cells are stored up in your head if you think that is the case. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article from the New York Post that was posted January 14, 2022. Lia Thomas, the standout transgender swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania, has created a toxic environment for the school's women's team, a new report claims. Speaking anonymously to the Washington Examiner, a teammate complained that Thomas has acted entitled, even likening themselves to groundbreaking baseball legend Jackie Robinson. They compare themselves to Jackie Robinson. They said he is, I'm going to just read it as they say, but we know that this person might identify as she, but we know biologically what they are. They said she compares herself to Jackie Robinson. She says she is like the Jackie Robinson of trans sports. Here's the thing. How can you say you're competing in trans sports when you're competing with biologically born women? That's not a trans sport. But do y'all see what they're trying to say? They're saying trans sports while you're competing with nothing but women. In order for this to be trans sports, y'all have to have a league that identifies as a trans league where everyone who's competing is trans. You're the only person there who's trans. Everyone else is an XX chromosome carrying female. The teammate told Christopher Tremogli in the op-ed published Thursday. Thomas competed on the Ivy League school's men's team for 3 years before transitioning genders and has since shattered women's records at the university. I would like to know what their record was like swimming as a man. Did they lose a lot? Because if they did, now that would literally explain why they transitioned and started competing against the women just so they could win more. If that's the case, that is some selfish-ish when you think about it. She laughs about it and mocks the situation, the teammate told the Examiner. Instead of caring or showing that she cares about what she's doing or what she's doing to her teammates, she's not sympathetic or empathetic at all. Lia never addressed our team. She never asked if it was okay. She never asked how we felt. She never tried to explain how she feels. She never has said anything to us as a group. She never addressed anything. I'm seeing a lot of nevers when it comes to this Lia Thomas. So it seems to me that Lia Thomas just saying that they're comparing themselves to Jackie Robinson and saying they're the Jackie Robinson of trans sports, that just seems to me like that's just the tip of the iceberg. It seems to me that there's more going on there than what the media keeps trying to push out about this individual. Like, of course, the team is going to know because they're there. They have to be around this person every single day. And it seems like the article states that Lia Thomas is creating a toxic environment for the team, but they still keep this person there. Just kick them off the team, but say, I know why they're not going to do it, because they scared of a pushback from the academy. That's just pushback I'll just have to deal with, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All she does is make comments to people like, at least I'm still number one in the country, and those kind of cocky things. The teammate continued. She doesn't care how all of this is affecting and how it's affecting us and how this is affecting our relationship to swimming. She doesn't care, and it makes it really hard to like her. The teammate also told the paper that Thomas has refused to follow team rules regarding dress code and wore pin gear on a trip to Florida despite orders to not draw attention to the team to avoid harassment. Thomas said last month that she just ignores the widespread backlash about her performance. It's not healthy for me to read it and engage with it at all, so I don't, and that's all I'll say on that. Thomas told her school paper last year that swimming remained a steady force in her life. Being trans has not affected my ability to do the sport, and being able to continue is very rewarding. Last week, Thomas lost a race to Isaac Hennig, a Yale University trans athlete who swims on the women's team. Again, that's a person who was born biologically a woman that quote unquote transitioned as a man. But notice this person stayed with the women. They didn't go and compete with the men. It's a weird thing. But unlike this Lia Thomas, who was born a man, quote unquote, transitioned to a woman and then went with the women, they didn't stay with the men. That's some wild stuff right there. But it just seems to me, like the teammate was saying, that Lia Thomas is just a toxic individual all the way around. All the way around. But mainstream media keeps propping this person up like they're the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to swimming, when we know that is clearly not the case. How many swimmers have we seen compete in the Olympics? This Lia Thomas probably would get washed with the other competitors. After all, they lost to another trans athlete. And this is a person who was still biologically born a woman. But yeah, it's like I said, it's messed up all the way around. But to compare yourself to Jackie Robinson, no. The collective of black people to say to that, hell no. But you notice how a lot of people compare themselves, like a lot of people in the academy like to compare themselves to those of black people in their plight. And I'm going to do a follow-up video to this because it's another article that I came across that somebody posted under a comment that somebody was responding to about this, where they kind of talk about that. And it was an article that was actually written this month. And I'm so glad that it was written, because this actually is something that we have talked about for so long when it comes to the academy, and they're trying to mesh their plight with black people. So I'm going to actually do that as a follow-up video to this. At first I was going to throw that in here, but it would have been a long video, and I wanted to stay focused just on this. So definitely be on the lookout for that one. But as for Lia Thomas, I'm going to just say this right now. Fuck you for even daring compare yourself to Jackie Robinson. And I'm glad that your teammate put you on blast. Now everybody can see what kind of a low-life individual you actually are. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.